Hi, welcome back to the Village Life podcast. And this is episode 8, The Roots. Because this is something I've been thinking about most of my adult life and practicing as well. And it's been a journey. And I'd like to share it with you since I'm noticing lately that people just maybe they never stop and reflect in their adult life on our own existence, really. So all these patterns, everything, we're just keep going. And since it's a fire horse here, you must be thinking, what does that mean if you never heard that expression yet? But it's really about the movement and to not lose yourself in all that process, finding the balance, holding few things simultaneously at the same time, like two extremes, like we can actually do this. It's amazing. So, here's the thing. How to heal all these traumas or some scars or even just perceptions that are stealing joy away from us, that really have nothing to do with the experiencing that's happening, but it's just putting the distortion in our minds and stealing the joy of the moment, because those traumas come up and we're projecting and it's not really there, right? Anyway, all that, I think the root of the problem or the situation we have in general, as far as I'm concerned and as far as I observed, it's really that most of the people never stop and reflect on themselves in their adult life, like to question everything, right? Our values, our existence, our thoughts. Like, we don't have to believe everything we think, right? There is this beautiful expression, metanoia. It's an old Greek expression for the change of mind. It's like you're in a cocoon all by yourself, because this is really the work, the shadow work we need to do on our own. And then once you do that, you change your mind and your perspective switches. And then you become a butterfly, free of that voice in your head, basically, that's telling you what life is, what you are, what you do, all that identification we do with things that are happening in our lives. No, although we don't know more than 0.001% or 0.0001% of everything that's happening, we still think, but we're thinking that's what it is. But yeah, maybe we don't have to stuck in that old mindset that we were just keep going since we grew up with. That, do we understand that, like, the thoughts we're thinking, we can't believe everything we think? Do we understand that even the strongest beliefs we hold are not really maybe the truth or who we are, our authentic selves? And most of us, nobody had like completely healthy childhood. Like that doesn't exist. Even if your mom unconditionally loved you so much, you were annoyed as a teenager, right? Or um, your dad maybe didn't give the healthiest, or it did give the healthiest, like masculinity figure you can get. There then maybe are other people, the surroundings, uh, siblings, whoever, um, that we as a child experienced something that was not that was actually conditional, and that's enough. Like our traumas don't measure, they trigger the same thing. It's just then we build more and more stories about it, right? And then we identify with all these different names that can be great excuses for a while, maybe. But there's a disclosure. This is a safe space. I don't judge anybody. I'm just trying to understand, and the intention behind it is unconditional love for ourselves, for others. So, of course, like we do reflect sometimes on those things, like when something really, really bad happens, right? Or when someone dies, when something moves us, and it puts us in a shock, and that kind of forces us to stop and reevaluate our thoughts and who we are. But then time passes by and we forget. We don't practice our awareness or mindfulness, and it just goes. But what I think it's crucial here, it's that we have a choice always. Like we can choose feeding a bad or a good wolf, and we choose not to take time to ourselves, for ourselves, sorry. And we choose to believe that other things are more important because that's what we were taught. And we never stop to ask ourselves why again, right? Since we're programmed by those thoughts, like why do we question them? But then the real question is, why don't we question them? Because it's a program. And maybe we realize when we do that we shouldn't really believe all that noise. But I know it's not easy to recognize certain things, and especially if they're deeply rooted, because we can't see them. Like we can feel them, but they're like little thieves of joy, I call them. And they're stealing our peace as well, and love, and then we just don't heal those energetic blocks. And we just make them bigger when, for example, we say, oh, it's good to express anger. Well, if everything is energy, I don't know. I would be curious, what do you guys think? But I think whatever we put focus on, it's growing, right? So if we get triggered, it's almost like our chance to maybe create a different experience. Every time we get any resistance, it's a new opportunity for us. But if we go to the old pattern and we react the same or stronger even in resistance, we're really betraying ourselves, because we are not clearing those energetic blockages. We're just making them even deeper, if that makes sense. So, um, you know, taking time to calm your mind, to just sit with yourself, aka meditate, observing your thoughts, and then let them go. That maybe then will start. Uh, it will help us to recognize the patterns of our own behaviors and become more aware of yourself. And it's a journey, but you know, if you ask me what else is more important than this, what else? Like, I know many people will argue what else, but if you really think about it, because you know, our perspective is everything, and we're capable of holding more perspectives at once. Like, so if we are, you know, if we have a shitty job that we don't like, that's really our perception. I mean, I had some jobs that I didn't like, but I tried to find maybe something that is there. I was always sure, okay, things are in my life for a reason, right? I was sure, not always, sorry, but I was quite sure that things were there for a reason, and I would try to find, what am I learning in this experience? What's there for me to remember, maybe, or maybe I'm inspiring others or showing others some other way to do things, or whatever that is, right? We are all on our own unique journey, yet we are all one. I love it. Anyway, okay, yes, being with ourselves is important, and then there's another side of this coin, right? That's equally important, and it's being with other people. Because why are relationships so important? It's because other people act as mirrors in that growth. They are a reflection. Maybe let's not take that as that's how it is. Like, that reflection can be also maybe just a reminder of something you already overcome, or like just a lesson for them, or just a lesson for you, or a lesson for both. Like, it's all so different. Excuse me. So if we need other people, that means it's important who you surround yourself with, right? We need people we can trust, people who can tell us the truth. And when they do, we listen. That part. And, you know, they help us to see what we can't see on our own. That's why. So relationships, especially partnerships, they're big mirrors, and that's how we grow and expand. It's amazing. There's a saying, you know, when you fall in love, love will change you. So it's not the person you fall in love with, but the feeling of love itself. If your heart is open, if you can be transparent about your feelings and your thoughts, if you can admit when you make mistakes, so if you can be vulnerable, really, you know, have compassion always for why the other person does what they do, always keep their best interest in your mind, then you can grow together. Otherwise, you'll grow apart, and that's that's not nice because we don't like heartbreaks. That hurts, man. It's like, uh. So, but it's a leap of faith and you gotta jump. Um, so I feel like as long as we genuinely stay interested in understanding, our friends, our partners, our family, we're okay. That's love. That's like unconditional love. And that's really like, that's all we want. Every human being in this world, really, I think, just needs love. Can you argue with that? Like, yes, but I think it's the root of it all. It's the connection, the pure intentions, the love itself. And, you know, nothing else really matters except that. And the energy we're creating as beings, this is then we're creating pure energy, pure love. What else? Oh, there's that. Then we can go collectively, since we are all one. We are all growing so much, I feel, right now, but like, especially, especially now. But there's still a lot to grow, right? to Still a lot of growth to come. So, mainstream, like TV, mainstream media, all this strange feelings of safetyness that they bring into our lives, because we all grew up with that. It's very, very, very weird how comfortable it makes us feel in a way. But like, I'm meeting more and more people now that are finally, or not finally, I'm not here to judge, right? But that they're not watching TV anymore. And I've done this like before I was 20, and it really brings peace in my life. That doesn't mean we are ignorant, because the story is just keep repeating, right? It's just changing the names, but the people, the figures, the, how do you call those, dolls, right? They're still like the same roles, just different people. So if it's all about energy, how do we raise energy? We raise our vibration, our energy, maybe not going down that rabbit hole with them, with this negativity and low vibrations, but and being smart about politics and knowing it all, you don't know. You don't know shit. We see what they show us. Yes, we have different platforms now that are maybe more truth-based, but I think if we really want to contribute to the wholeness, we just gotta raise our vibration. Make sure you take care of your part. Don't worry about others. So, yeah, I think that's really important. So, let's say news is like always dividing. There's some kind of opinion, and that's how it is. That's why I don't like politics necessary um, in that manner. And, anything that divides people or creates some kind of separation, I think it's unhealthy, obviously. I mean, look what's going on in the world, right? Sending prayers and beautiful energy to all these people. But yeah, I think it's more, unhealthy, it's a gentle word for what's going on with separation and the dividing on this planet Earth. So, let's maybe meditate, do more yoga, conscious breathing, or anything that calms us down. Being in nature, walking a dog, singing, drawing, spending time alone, or even like, I don't know, swimming, right? Because even though we're social beings, I think the time we spend by ourselves is equally important, and it's life itself teaching us that everything starts within us and moves outwards, right? Everything. The root. Yeah, well, there's so many like calming practices out there that help us slow down to actually hear our thoughts. I think this is crucial. We just need to choose something, create a habit, so we can even start listening to those thoughts, to be mindful, and to be without distraction, without focusing on things or people that have nothing to do with us except helping us keep running away from ourselves. And maybe let's not wait until something really bad happens that forces us to change that mentality, and finally take a deep dive into our whole belief system. And then, you know, maybe it's not easy, like, to go there. You need to be brave. And then to realize that vulnerability is your superpower takes a lot of bravery, I feel. Like, that's like, it's really congrats to anyone who can do that. I'm still shaking sometimes if I need to be vulnerable with people that maybe I don't know them that well yet, or, but it's worth it every time. So let's say, so even though it's not easy, but once you understand that it can only get better, you'll do anything to change it. I feel, at least that was my journey, and it still is. And here is one gracious one. No one told us that, so let's be gentle with ourselves, right? Please know you deserve all the love there is. Preaching to the choir. Okay, so then once you're ready, what I think is truly important is this. Notice which thoughts might just be automatic and start observing them instead of believing them. And then once you start observing, we begin to recognize what no longer aligns with who we are, with our true values, but to see that clearly, we need a calm sea, a quiet mind, because only then we can notice that single drop, right? Falling in, or if that drop is a thought, that navigating our next choice. And so the way to do that, if you're ready, if you never really reevaluate your belief system, something to start with, it's maybe 5 to 10 minutes of a quiet time per day. Um, Meditation, I would say. And then you're already doing the work. Like, you can change your diet, you can fast sometime, you can make sure you eat healthier food, we can ground, like, grounding, it's so important. It used to be part of our lives back in the, you know, medieval times. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, yes, of course, but even just when we were kids, we were barefoot running around, right? So, like, whatever, all this stuff, just walking on a grass barefoot or standing barefoot for 10 minutes a day on the ground, it's enough. Like, it's slowly but surely, give yourself that space and time, love for yourself, and then you can add more time. You can meditate a little longer, maybe. uh, Even hygiene is so important too. Water will always cleans you energetically. We are carrying everything in our auras that we interfere with during the day. So water is really a big cleanser. Like, making sure you have healthy teeth. Teeth are so important. They're right here, close to our brain. And they influence our whole body as well. So, like, that kind of stuff is so important. You can go for a retreat as well if you're like, I'm gonna nail this in 3 months. I mean, yes. And it's a great way to do those things. Like, anything that you're called to, just do it. Maybe read a book if it's calling you, or just question everything and see what happens. So just be careful, because you might be happier than you ever imagined. And let's, I think it's the we all felt that. We all know what that feeling is, because when we were children, we were like that. We were just fearless. We loved unconditionally, and feels like, I think Picasso was always trying to run back to himself as a child, tried to draw like a child, the older he was getting, right? Same thing right here. So I would say, when we act out of love, not out of fear, the world becomes a little bit more magical. And good luck to all of us. Remember, love. Love is always the answer. If you don't know if it's a situation, love is the answer, always. And it will disarm even the most aggressive thoughts. I hope you're enjoying this Village Life episodes. And thank you for listening. Have a beautiful rest of the month or week. Love above all. Much love.